Hello and welcome to STAT 2050. This is an online section for Introduction to Statistics. Um, I want to give you an introduction of the way that the course will be set up in general, as well as go through the syllabus. My name is Ashley Johnson. I will be your instructor. So first I want to talk about Moodle. So Moodle is going to be set up where there's a general category, and then each big topic area is going to be the activities that will be done during the week. So there are 15 weeks in the semester, and then there is a final examination week. So we have 15 weeks here. So I'm going to go through the way that each week is going to be set up. But first, let's go through the syllabus. This general area is going to have a lot of information added to it on a regular basis. You will be on Moodle pretty regularly, so anytime something new is added here, I will usually give you some kind of notification about it. So the first thing that I want to do is talk about the course syllabus. I'm going to just open this up right here. So this is an online section, so we do not have any meeting times. I have office hours on campus if you are able to get to campus, but typically in the online section, email is typically the way that I communicate with most of my students. My office phone, I will always be there during my office hours, but depending on if I'm meeting with students, I may not answer. So again, the best way to contact me is with this email right here. So ashley.johnson@caspercollege.edu. I do check Moodle messages, but email comes directly to my phone, so it's definitely the best way to contact me. So fundamentals of statistics is typically for students in the life sciences, behavior sciences, and physical science majors. However, usually this counts as the introductory statistics class if stats is required for your major. So always check with your advisor to make sure. So our topics are going to include frequency distributions, graphs, central tendency, dispersions, probability models, and basic inferential statistics, including linear regression. So you need a grade of C or better in 1000 or 1400 math to get into this class. And the goal of this course is to get a working knowledge in the uses and misuses of statistics. The technology component that we will be using in this course is Stata. It is something that you have to purchase and download. So I'm going to have a second video that's in the introduction section, the general section, that will show you how to do that. You're going to have pieces within the class that you'll need to use Stata for. There are weekly assignments, learning quizzes that you will need to use Stata for, and then there's also lab activities that will require Stata as well. So the methodology of this course, given that this is an online class, you are primarily responsible for the entire course material. This is not a self-paced course, so you are expected to keep up with weekly materials and assignments. With the way that I have the course set up, it's pretty rigid. It's going to be almost the same each week, so it's really easy to get into a routine with this course. Your goal should be to learn the material, not just to get by on tests, but to truly understand. I know that that is just in a perfect world sometimes, but the better that you understand, the easier that the tests will be for you in general. If you don't understand something, it is up to you to contact me. I will be pretty regularly checking my email, especially since that does come to my phone. And again, Moodle messages I will respond to, but it definitely won't be in as quick of a pace. So my role in this is to help you reach success as best as possible. So it's possible that I could answer your questions by making a new video for you. Or some of your questions may be pretty quick and straightforward, and those I will answer by email as best that I can. All right, so this is using the scientific method and quantitative skills to process data. And the college may use your work for demonstrating the above outcomes. Any personal information will be removed from the work, so it will no longer have your name. So the course objectives are listed below. I'm not going to go through those individually. Our required course material, a lot of people have sent me an email asking about the text. The text is an optional text, so that's why it's recommended and not required. You could probably get previous editions for probably under $5. There's a lot of editions of that, and there hasn't been big enough changes that I think warrant getting a new edition personally. So what is required is Stata, and it is software that we will be using. You can get a 6-month subscription for $38, so definitely less than a textbook, and it will also give you experience with pretty popular software. So the grade is based off from 5 components in the class. Each week we are going to have a learning quiz. Learning quizzes are going to be based off from the material that is required for that week, and they're going to be due Monday at 11:59 p.m. unless there is a test that week. So each week that there is a learning quiz, there will be a Dropbox. The Dropbox will be available the whole week, and it will disappear at 11:59 p.m. on Monday of the next week. I do not accept late work, so it's really important that you do make sure that you get the quiz into the Dropbox. Please make sure that everything on your learning quiz is visible. So if you're doing scans, cell phones are pretty, I would say, inconsistent. So you need to make sure that the way that you are scanning in your learning quiz is visible to me. The lowest learning quiz grade is dropped each semester. So, and that does not happen until the grades are due. So that will happen at the very end. 15% of your grade is based on lab activities. Each of these 5 units that we have, there's 4 bigger ones, and the 5th one is a little bit shorter. The goal of this is to practice the material that you have done so far in that unit, as well as to go a little bit more in depth with some of the material. Stata will be required for all of these assignments, except for the first one, but you will need Stata otherwise in Unit 1 for sure. And you may need to use other applets on the internet, so there will be some other pieces involved with the lab activity. The due dates for each of these lab activities will be specified on the assignments. Usually lab activities aren't assigned until the material from that week has ended, because it is it's made to go a little bit more in depth with the material. So I like everybody to get everything down as learning quizzes and then move on to the lab activities. The lowest lab activity will be dropped. This is going to be super helpful because there's not going to be a lot of these assignments, but I understand that some of them will add a little bit of an extra challenge. So even though there's not a lot of them, I will drop the lowest one. And again, no late assignments are accepted on the lab activities for any reason. 40% of the grade comes from the proctored exams. After each of the 4 big units, there is a proctored exam. You may use a note sheet front and back on each of these exams, and on 2 of the other exams you are able to use reference tables, which I give out to you, that you may also take notes on. So there's never a situation on an exam that is proctored that you have to just have all the information in your head and memorize. And in the real world with statistics, there's always a lot of opportunity for you to use outside resources. All of the pages on the exam must be turned in, and they must be unique to each student. So if you have a friend that's also taking the online class, you can't copy their note sheet. It has to be something that you've created yourself. Students that live in Casper will take their exams at the Casper College Academic Testing Center, and then those who don't live in Casper will need to get an approved proctoring center for them, and then you can get help with the setup of that from the Casper College Testing Center. There is a mostly cumulative final exam during the final exam period, and again, with that, you may use a hand-written sheet of notes, full page front and back, as well as the reference tables from Units 3 and 4. So this exam is also proctored, and like the other exams, you're going to have a lot of material that you can have with you. So as long as you set that up and practice, usually the final exam is a pretty high scoring exam here. And again, mostly cumulative. A lot of the course, or a decent amount, isn't included. So it really gives you an opportunity to get good at what I think is important for you to take with you as you move on. And then I will tell you at that later on exactly what will be expected from you for that exam. Finally, the last 15% is from a project. More information about this will be coming in pretty soon, although you do not need to worry about the project until I'd say around midterm. I do mention the project pretty frequently in the course lectures and material, so it is something that I want you to be thinking about, but it's definitely not something that you have to worry about. So in the project, you're going to answer some kind of statistical question that you pick yourself, and then you're going to collect your own data and use the statistical methods that we've learned throughout the semester. At the end, you're going to present your project as a poster, and then you're going to record a very short presentation for that. And then again, I will give you information about the video as well a little bit later on. So as stated above, late assignments will not be accepted for any reason. Missing class is not a legitimate reason. We don't have a face-to-face class, so that won't apply to us as much here. But please keep in contact with me with what's going on. But I'm very strict, especially with the online format with due dates. The traditional rating scale will be used. 90 and above is an A, 80 to an 89.9 would be a B, and so on. So I do occasionally lower the grade cutoffs. So for example, there's been a semester where an 88 has actually become the cutoff for an A. So if you got, an 89, that would actually become an A. That does not happen every semester. It depends on a lot of different factors. The last day to withdraw or change to an audit is April 14th. And then the rest of this I'm going to leave up to you to read. This is the standard on all of the Casper College syllabi. The last piece that I want to talk about is the very last section after the ADA accommodations policy. If you do have an accommodation, and you had one in high school, you are still eligible for that accommodation, but it is more on your hands to set that up. So please do that. It will definitely help you to keep those accommodations if you have needed them in the past. So the course schedule, the way that it's broken down, the first 3 weeks are going to be on Unit 1. The second 3 weeks are going to be Unit 2. The second unit is a lot shorter, so it's kind of like a smaller unit in itself. And so then this schedule is going to be followed pretty closely. Unit 4 typically only lasts 4 weeks, but I have extra time in there if needed. And then the final 2 pages here are all of the topics for the course. And in each unit, I'll always do kind of like a expectation of what's to come. So we do have 5 units. Unit 2, again, is a little bit shorter. So we start off with just understanding what statistics is and some basic information that we need in order to go on. Unit 1 is usually pretty great for students because a lot of times it's material that you may have already heard of. So that unit I think is a great way to start with some material that you might be familiar with. Then we jump into probability, which you, I'm sure, have done somewhere along the lines. And then the binomial distribution starts off with some pretty new stuff. As far as I'm concerned, however, statistics doesn't technically start until Unit 3, and that's where we've already learned everything that we need to know in Unit 1 and 2 in order to actually get to statistics. So we're going to start here with some distributions and then get into confidence intervals. And then last 2 units are what I'm calling the heart of statistics, and then those are all of our hypothesis tests. So in statistics, in order to answer any kind of question, we do a formal test, and so that's these hypothesis tests here. Starting with Unit 3, we start to get a little bit more technical, so definitely make sure that you, are kind of, ready for anything as we go through this course, because the first unit is a lot of terminology and definitions and stuff, so it really kind of changes as the course goes throughout.